Cambridge education were paid for by New Skin without him needing to dip his hands into the savings they made for their education. Both are from Cambridge. So, you know, Cambridge is not exactly, it's pretty premium, if I must say. All right. And today he's living a life of what a lot of people wanted. Now, if he had stayed, I do not know, but if you ask him if he had stayed in the institutional stockbroking industry, what would his life be? I would say his answer is this: it won't be like this. Okay, traveling around the world, going to London to see the children, you know, and so forth. So without further ado, let's put our hands together for Mr. Tan JuinnWen. JuinnWen, are you there?
Hi, Oliver. I'm here.
All right. I can hear you loud and clear. So, by the way, this is a very nice background. You know why? This was the exact background that myself and Alfred were looking at when we were in the business presentation that you were giving 20 years ago.
Yeah, you're seated where I'm seated, of course, facing the other way.
Correct.
Because I was giving the presentation where the cabinet is.
Yes, and yeah, you were flipping the last time it was flip chart, right?
That's right.
You were flipping the flip chart. But anyway, I tell you something. By the end of the presentation, I didn't know what you were talking about. I did it anyway. I'll tell you more about it later. But anyway, you're here for a very important reason. There's a queue of people, and look at, there's 187 people right now from, I think, about 4 countries right now, listening in, sitting in to listen to you about the seismic shock. Now, the title of this talk is the 4 seismic shocks, right? Okay. Now, the title alone suggests something that's really huge, but I do not think some of the a good amount of people understand what you mean seismic shock. What has it got to do with us? So can you please tell us how scary and how big this seismic shock is and in relation to us?
Indeed, seismic shocks are very scary and very destructive. I mean, the word seismic actually comes from, you know, when you have an earthquake, you have a seismic shock. And we all know when there's an earthquake, the damage is been done and the damage stays for a long time. So there are 4 seismic shocks that are going to affect all of us. The first one, the first seismic shock, is our first pandemic in over 100 years. I think those of us who are present have lived through the last 2 to 3 years. We know what it has done to us, to our jobs, to our livelihoods, to our businesses. The second seismic shock is the first war in Europe in over 80 years. The last time was, of course, the Second World War. So we have seen how that has affected our pockets as well, in terms of the petrol price, in terms of the energy cost, in terms of the utilities. I just read, I think it was about a month ago, Singapore electricity prices will go up 8% in the next quarter. Okay, and those of us who go to fill up our car, we already know what happens. What hasn't yet happened and will happen is wheat prices will go up. And that means even a basic, simple loaf of bread will go up in price. I mean, you know that that's going to hit you as well, Oliver, because I know you love to bake. One more thing, Ukraine and Russia, they are one of the world's largest manufacturers of fertilizers. So that means next year or very soon, all the crop prices will go up. Okay, so the second seismic shock, the war in Europe, unlike any war elsewhere, is hitting us directly. The third seismic shock is the first serious inflation in over 40 years. Now, I was just going back and looking at the charts. I think this is the first time as a working adult or as an adult who has money coming in from a job or a business, this is the first time I'm experiencing inflation. The last time I looked at it, I was still studying, I was in secondary school. You hear your parents talk about it, but it doesn't affect you. So I think many people below the age of 60, mid-60s have never experienced inflation like what we are seeing now. So the third seismic shock is the biggest inflation numbers, the biggest jump in inflation in over 40 years. And the final one, the fourth one, is the largest interest rate hike in over 30 years. This happened about 3 weeks ago when the Federal Reserve of America hiked interest rate by 0.75%, with more to come. And it's affecting all of us. For example, Singapore, the fixed mortgage rates have tripled in a very short time. So all of us who have mortgages or intending to have a mortgage to buy a house will be immediately affected.
Right.
So these are very serious shocks that will have implications for a long, long time to come.
Yeah, these are what we call pretty macro in terms of seismic shock. But you know, the mass majority of people outside are employees, they own businesses, you know. What has it got to do with us? And for the matter of fact, a month ago, in the national papers reported the employers are upping the salary of employees to keep them because there's a shortage of employees, right?
Right.
So the thing is, what has it got to do with us? And if it has a direct impact on us, what can we do to elevate it, go above it, transcend over this situation?
Okay, so the thing that worries the economists the most is this dirty word called stagflation. Stagflation means you have the worst of both worlds. On the one hand, you have a stagnating economy or economy that's going down and inflation that's going up. In other words, your costs go up and your growth goes down. Now, so how does it affect those of us who are employees? Immediately, those of us who are employees who have to maintain a household, send our kids to school, put food on the table, prices have just gone through the roof. Just the other day, I went to eat my roti prata and lor mee just at the marketplace. I did a very quick calculation. Prices have not gone up 5-10%. They've gone up minimum 20%. Okay, so to put that into perspective, US inflation, the latest figure is running at 8.6%. In the UK is 9.1%. In the EU is about 8.6% as well. Singapore, the latest one was 5%. I don't quite believe that because that's not what I'm experiencing on the ground. And of course, Malaysia, for our Malaysian friends, your minister was very proud to declare that Malaysia is the world champion. Inflation only running at 2.8%. I don't know how you do it, but that's what he said. But I don't think that's what you're experiencing on the ground. So on the one hand, the costs have gone up for those of us who are employees. Maybe we might get some wage increases, but I don't think we're going to get wage increases of 10, 15, 20%. If you're lucky, maybe 5%, but it will not compensate for the rising costs. For the businesses, just coming out of the pandemic, they thought, oh, okay, let's make all the money back. Things are going back to normal. Suddenly they find the utility bills have gone up. They find that the rentals hasn't come down. They find that the manpower costs will go up. They find that raw material costs will go up. So I think businesses are having a very hard time. A report just came out for the first half in Singapore. More businesses closed compared to the first half of last year. For a very simple reason, costs have gone up and they think revenue will come down. In fact, this is so serious that I just read a report about a week ago. The president of the World Bank, no less, said that inflation will take a few years to cure or to settle. Unfortunately, recession in some countries cannot be avoided. He just sugarcoated. I think a slowdown is definitely coming. Whether it's going to be a shallow or deep recession, we don't know yet. So I think, guys, brace yourself. We're going to have the worst of both worlds. Growth slowing, cost going up.
Well, you just reminded me that 2 years ago I was same car, pump petrol, one tank was $75. It's now $150 Sing dollars a tank.
That's right.
Right. So it's just gone up the roof. I don't know how those figures came about, but we are definitely experiencing something higher than what is reported.
That's like when I signed the bill for the petrol, I try not to look at the number. It's so scary.
So scary, yeah. All right. Okay. Anyway, now having said all this, right? I'm a guy who's at the ground and all this, right? Of course, we're talking about Nu Skin solving this problem for us. Now, you just said that there's possibly a stagflation. You know, inflation is going up, economy is going down. It is obvious that people are going to pull back their spending. Okay, I mean, if I'm making not enough to deal with the inflation, of course I'll pull back on the spending. And all those first things I'm going to pull back are the things that I want but I don't need. All right. So Nu Skin, let's talk about Nu Skin, right? We're talking about Nu Skin today, right? Now we're dealing with supplements and skincare. Okay. Why in the world would this business be growing? And I know that it's growing, but why in the world would this business be growing when everybody is pulling back like this? And what is the advantage of this business over the traditional businesses outside there?
Okay. So first, let's look at the time that we were in the pandemic, starting from about first quarter or thereabouts of 2020, and we've just come out of it. During this time, actually, a lot of us suffered in terms of maybe some people lost jobs, incomes were cut. Some of us had to pivot to become safe distance ambassadors. I mean, if you were working for the airlines, you just have to go and find another job, and a lot of businesses closed. During this time, what happened to our sales of our product? It actually stayed very robust, right? People continue to wash their hair, clean their face, and take the supplements. In fact, health became an even more important consideration during the last 2 to 3 years. And we also had quite a few new people coming in that were born during the pandemic that made good extra income. So of course, now the costs have gone up. As you rightly say, costs are going up. The economic mood is more somber. How can we expect consumption of our products not to fall? Okay, so let me tell you a thing I read from Estee Lauder Holdings. Now, Estee Lauder Holdings is a huge company. They don't just sell Estee Lauder. They have many brands, from entry level to even a scent like Jo Malone, like Tom Ford perfume. At the high end, a brand called La Mer. Okay, now what the chairman said, or what the CFO said in his statement was, yes, we're beginning to see some issues in terms of buying at the entry level, but at the top end, at the high end, no problem. People are still buying. Now, where does Nu Skin stand in all of this? Nu Skin has a very wide range of products, going from entry level all the way to excellent one-of-a-kind products. But at every price point, we are giving tremendous quality that you cannot find at the equivalent price. So I think that our history over the last 40 years has shown, even in a recession, people continue to use our product during the pandemic. Okay, yes, there might be some hesitation in buying maybe the higher price products, but this is where we as business builders need to go and enroll more people to use our product and to show them that these products give you outstanding value and benefit at that price point. So I'm actually very confident, because I look at the track record of Nu Skin products, how they perform during the down period over the last close to 40 years. We've been doing very well. The last 2 years, we also done very well during the pandemic lockdown. And I have every confidence that our products will come true for us again. And more importantly, I think people will be more willing to look at the business opportunity, because inflation is like a thief in the night. It will rob you of your savings. Not that we are saving a lot to begin with for most people, it's going to rob you. So I always say that inflation is a tax on economic activity. The higher the tax, the greater economic activity slow down, the more your income goes down, the more your savings go down. The only way to fight that is not to go for house brands or try and save more money. It's not possible. Is to make more money, have more extra income. Better still, extra passive income. And I think this is where the Nu Skin opportunity comes in.
Wow. I mean, what you just said reminded me of what Dr. James Shea said to me some 20 years ago. Just before I came to meet you, I met him first, talking about this consumer business. And come to think of it, I don't know how long toothpaste has been selling, and people are still buying toothpaste today, whether they have a job, don't have a job, whether they are working, they're not working, or they still use toothpaste. So it's something to, and we called it the fast-moving consumer goods business.
That's right.
And exactly these are the industry that grew during the pandemic.
That's right.
The Nestle's, the Procter & Gamble, the Johnson & Johnson's, they literally grew, right? All right, great. Thanks for the reminder. Now, I got something more personal for you. Okay. I mean, knowing your profile, you're the main breadwinner of your family. men of your profile, educated and all this. Now, why should people like yourself look at this business and say, I want to do sales business? I mean, I was kicked out of sales in my consulting business and asked, go back to consulting work, I'll get a salesperson for you. I was resisting sales. To make it worse, women's products. Okay, it's a woman's business. And then to add on is multi-level marketing. Now, what advice would you give to people with the same profile as you, like myself?
Firstly, as you know from my background, I've always been investing in business and looking at business, looking at investments. So when this was first presented to me as a business opportunity, immediately I saw, wow, this is a sure win business opportunity that everyone, regardless of background, can do. Secondly, I see that you don't need capital. You don't need to carry inventory. You don't need to carry manpower, rental costs, deal with supply side issues that all traditional businesses are doing. And if you can make extra money, whether it's 1,000 or 5,000 or more, isn't that a wonderful thing? Now, as a breadwinner, I am deeply conscious, especially since I come from a very volatile finance industry, that tomorrow I wake up, for whatever reason, I am not going to be paid the kind of money I was paid in the past. So this was my plan B, and which became my plan A. And the best part of it, like I say, I don't have to be putting money into it, my hard-earned savings into it. So I think most people think of this, unfortunately, as a ladies' business, selling to ladies. You know, even though I did not use skincare when I first looked at the business, the thing that got me so bullish about the business was precisely because it was skincare business. Because I know that women will cut off everything else except what they put on their face. Of course, the Chanel bag is also very important, okay?
Of course.
So that was very important to me. Secondly, I am deeply, I take very seriously my responsibility to be a breadwinner, to put food on the table, to be able to send my kids to university and beyond, hopefully, and then take care of my wife and myself for the rest of our days. Now, there is no guarantee that my job would still be around or that I will still be relevant. Whereas I've seen in the track record of Nu Skin, the people who come in, they work hard for a while, and then the business income takes care of them forever. Now, I want to give one example. I think we all know about Estee Lauder Holding. It's a huge company, many times the size of Nu Skin, by the way. The guy who is running Estee Lauder today is a guy called, if I'm not wrong, his name is Michael Lauder. Obviously, he comes from a family. He is the grandson of the original Estee Lauder, okay? Do you know that his degree was in economics at the University of Pennsylvania?
You know that?
Yes, University of Pennsylvania. And today he owns this huge company called Estee Lauder Holdings, right? So in the same way, guys, whoever is listening in, men or women, young or old, irrespective of whatever you're doing today, we are inviting you to be a business owner, of Nu Skin, to build a business organization that will take care of your present livelihood, your children's education needs, and your retirement. And by the way, when you and your wife and your spouse finally leave this earth, this business passes on to your kids. But of course, the company needs to be around. So in the same way, if Estee Lauder is still around, Michael will be able to pass it to his children and to his grandchildren. And I have every confidence Nu Skin will be around for me to pass it on. So like I said, I really see this, to summarize, I see this as a sure win business, provided you work at it, provided you do all the right things and focus on the right things that will take care of my present and my future financial needs.
You know, you just reminded me, my children were saying, hey, you're doing the business in future, just hand over to me. I don't need to do. I say, don't forget, I'm taking Pharmanex product. I'll live to 100. By the time I hand over to you, you're 70 years old. Okay, so you better start doing. Yeah. Anyway, you also reminded me a long time ago when I was standing in front of a shop called Zara in Singapore, you know, with a friend of mine, and he was asking, why are you doing this women's business? And I say, you turn around, look at the wall down there, it says second floor women. mezzanine floor women, first floor women,
Exactly.
basement one, men beside the toilet. So my answer to him is women run the economy.
Yes.
That's exactly the reason why I want to do this business, because it's a woman's business.
Yes.
Okay, not that men don't buy our product, is for both genders. But women are still the major consumer, whether we statistically, whether we like it or not. That's great. Now, having said that about men, let's talk about women. Today, even more true than ever, women are not only contributing to the household income, they are also a big portion who are making the same amount as the husband, and there is even a bigger portion that's making more than the husband themselves. So they are also a breadwinner and all this in a bigger way. The funny part is, but up to today, although women have escalated in their status in terms of positions and in terms of money that they make, but they are still the main caretaker of the child and household work. They are also the one doing it. So if there's such a person sitting in this talk right now, okay, I'm so busy, I'm department head, I'm making a lot of money, I'm the sole breadwinner, blah, blah, blah. I'm still taking care of the kids, I'm still washing up. Why should they do this business?
Okay, indeed, you're right. I think my kudos to all the women, the working women who have to juggle multiple responsibilities. If not for you guys, I think our society will collapse. Yeah, our society will collapse, I will say this. Firstly, I'm very bullish of this business because the women know their product, be it skincare or be it supplements. So when I saw the women who were using these products and using them year in, year out across the world, that told me everything I need to know whether or not these products will stay the course of time. Secondly, women are more conscious of the health for their family. So they are more likely to buy supplements for themselves, for their kids, and for their husband. Okay. Thirdly, and most importantly, women's maternal instinct is to always ask, what if? What if my husband loses his job? Maybe today I'm a secondary breadwinner, or maybe I'm a co-breadwinner, but what if one leg is gone? It's going to be very hard. That means my children's education, our retirement needs to be compromised. So the women tend to think about what could go wrong for their children, for their family, for their retirement needs. And so they see very clearly that if this company can sell such wonderful product and serious people are coming in to do the business and they can have that kind of lifestyle, why not me? I can use this to give my family a better life. Actually, the men also know that their jobs are at risk, but the men are too macho to admit it. They always like to put up a brave front in front of their wife to think that everything is okay. They never think they will be the one that will be retrenched, but sorry, when it comes, it's a bit too late. Or they never think they're the one that's going to collapse for whatever reason because of a stroke or heart attack, So I think the women's maternal instincts is really what drives the opportunity, certainly for Nu Skin, because they know that you need to have a proper plan to take care of the family's future.
Okay, so talk about macho man. I'm sitting right in front of one right now, right? Macho man, ego, and all this kind of thing. When I first knew you, I was fairly puzzled because obviously you don't need the money from Nu Skin. You don't need it. Okay, that was my opinion. You're a multi-millionaire then. You're still a multi-millionaire. If you want to get a job in any institutional stockbroking, people will bring out you, and you don't need this business. Now, what was in your mind? Now, having said that, what kept you to be consistent in doing this business and be persistent enough to carry on business? What in the world is driving you? That one I'm curious.
Okay, so Oliver, let me correct you. You're wrong to say I don't need more money. Everyone needs more money. You can ask Elon Musk or Bill Gates or whoever, the guys running Google, whether they would like to make more money. The answer is yes, because we can feel more financially secure. We can give our family the better life. Nothing wrong with that. And for those of us doing the business, we want to grow the business even bigger. So to me, money is a neutral number. And I always like to say, it's better to have more, to feel more secure so that you can provide better for yourself and for others. And if you think there's too much, you can always give some of it away anyway, right? Okay, so what drives me? I think earlier on, I talk about how I take my breadwinner's role very seriously, and I always evaluate the trajectory at any point. Is it reasonable to expect that my trajectory will continue to be very good, or at some point things will turn? You have to project ahead, 5-year, 10-year plan. So I knew that at some point it was going to become more and more difficult to make a decent living in finance because things are changing so quickly. Okay, I think most men will also realize that, but they are in denial. I'm not in denial. That's number one. Number two, when I look at this business, it does not require any particular skill set. It is not dependent on an age. It's not dependent on gender. And when I look at the profile of my uplines and my sidelines at that time, I say it comes from the whole spectrum. There are people who are taxi drivers who can do it. There are people who are PhDs who can do it. There are people who are professionals, business owners. So if they can do it, why can't I? So if you give me something that allows me to be more financially secure without risking my hard-earned savings, I would do it. And I would do it because my uplines told me all you have to do is keep headhunting, keep going through the numbers to find the people who want to do. To me, the business is not easy, but it's simple. It's a headhunting business to find the ones who want to improve their future, who are prepared to look at this as a way of doing things which nobody else has told them before that it's possible, and be prepared to do whatever it takes to make it happen.
Wow. Okay. It's always puzzling to me why you would do this business with so much finesse up to today, and you're still driving it. You're what, 62?
I'm 63.
You're 63. Okay, I lost count.
And by the way, correction, I play soccer 4 times a week.
Really? Oh, okay. Your kneecap is a miracle.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks to Wisespan and R-Square.
Wisespan. Every time he say there's a product coming out from his mouth. But anyway, now we have spoken about you. We talk about you. I mean, you're a government scholar. You're smart. You're intelligent. Even your 2 daughters are in Cambridge. Let's talk about people who are ordinary. The question is, there are people who are ordinary. They are working 12 hours a day, 9 hours a day. They are making money, hand to mouth and all this. The question is, do they have a chance? And do you have some examples you can share?
Sure. I mean, an example far away. In fact, a guy just called me the other day. Is a guy called Gotan-san. He is a taxi driver from Japan. He lives in Kyoto. He was a taxi driver before. In short, he is COE4 at the highest level. And today he's still in the car business, except that he's got BMW, Mercedes, Lamborghini, and Ferrari.
Oh, he buys a car, he don't sell it.
Yeah, he drives. He said, Tan-san, when you come to Japan, you must come to my house and I will throw you a very nice dinner and so on. But let's not talk about people so far away. Let's talk about people closer to home. Let's talk about people in Singapore. I mean, for example, I can think immediately of one called JuinnWen. In fact, Oliver, she's directly in your line. Why don't you talk about JuinnWen?
Okay, yeah.
Her story.
Okay, I talked about her story so often that I always have her slides with me for some reason. All right. So let me share with you a slide. Let me see whether I can find her slide. Oops, yes, I can find her slide, correct. Okay, I want to mention about this lady called JuinnWen. This is JuinnWen. Okay, if you look at her, she looks like any other person that you know, outside there. Family, husband working, she was working. Now, when we first met her, she was this person who's so introverted and quiet. So introverted, so quiet. And once she told us that she's so introverted that if you go near her in the office, she'll probably take a newspaper and cover her face. She doesn't want to talk to people. She was an account manager in a travel agency. She's now a brand director. And she had a very famous line. She says, I don't have to be present in any specific place to make a living. Okay, I can be with my mother in Ipoh, while my business is running everywhere else. Okay, today I run this business in 17 countries, and she is responsible for half of it, more than half of it. Okay, she has no idea she was spread to so big. And one of those things that she shared is that when her father passed on, she was working in Singapore. She was working in Singapore, and she cannot just leave her job and her father was very sick, and phone call came in, the father's gone already. She had to take leave, apply leave, justify, and then fly to Ipoh just for the funeral. But she says after that, when she started a new skin business, she could be with her mom. And when her mom was in a critical stage, she was back in Ipoh for an entire month just by her bedside. So she said that is a huge difference to her. Okay, she couldn't have done that if she had been employed. Okay, so that was the story she shared. And today, her sister is in a business. She's got many countries, and she says, it's more. Her daughter is already in university, and this young one, she's in Sec 3 right now. When she first sat in our presentation, she was 4 years old. You know that she can do the compensation plan. Okay, she's now secondary 3. So the children grew up with her, and she's appreciative of all this. And just now you talk about Gotan's son. I happen to save some picture for you.
Oh, good.
Okay, I got these 4 people.
That's right.
All right, I took it from your slides.
Yes.
This is the professor. Okay, COE 4, multi-millionaire, but he bores the living daylights out of you when he speaks in a presentation. He lectures. Okay, this is Martha Stewart. If I'm not wrong, she was a hospital cleaner. Martha Lowry. Stewart, what am I talking about? She was a hospital cleaner. All right. This is Gotan's son, the taxi driver from Japan. And this is Elvis. Okay, he's not a singer. I believe, if I'm not wrong, he was a goreng pisang seller in Malaysia.
That's right.
They're all successful. So you can come from all walks of life. And these are some examples, including myself. Okay, I'm an ordinary guy who's just employed, traveling. And my decision of doing this business is relatively different from yours, because remember I said I couldn't understand what you were talking about. Mine came from a need because my daughter didn't recognize me because I was traveling so much. I decided I'll become her first girlfriend by the time I become 12, by she becomes 12. Okay, so I had to find a way to stay at home while working and making a living. And I was a sole breadwinner. I wasn't a sole breadwinner. My wife was working together. And we started this business. That was 20 years ago. And thanks to all of you, today I retired in 2012. That was 10 years ago? Glenda retired much earlier. Right, so that's what I want to share, and I still got more questions to ask you.
Yeah, and in fact, Oliver, I wanted to make a point. A lot of people, when they look at me, they think that I have it easy in this business because I know a lot of rich people in finance. I'm well connected, and I like to make this statement: I succeeded in this business in spite of my network of people who seem to be able to afford the products. Okay, and one of the very bullish things I read that encouraged me in this business, I read a book, and the book said, in the future, when you survey your business empire, more than 99.something% of your business partners are people not known to you before you started the business. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. So I happen to know some of the ministers who are serving in the present cabinet. They were my friends, schoolmates, and so on and so forth. They don't use the products, and of course, I'm not going to get them to do the business. they already got a very good job at doing whatever they're doing. In fact, a lot of the finance people I spoke to did not join me in the business, and my entire front line were people, total strangers, or someone I barely knew, like Dr. James Chia, who is your upline, for example. So please, the business was much harder for me than you think, not the other way around.
I mean, that statistic is real, because today, if I look at the whole organization,
exactly,
there's only one person whom I knew when I first started this business. The rest were all strangers.
That's right.
Once upon a time, until I got introduced to them slowly, one step at a time. So it's the statistics not true. Now, coming back to statistics. Now, along the way, when we talk to people about this business, and people will tell me, there are other businesses that also can do the same thing. Okay, things like guaranteed 2% per month interest or whatever it is, 30% annual. I don't know what these are. We got property business, we got the insurance business. There are also millionaires out there. And, the property market is booming in Singapore. I do not know about the other countries, but the property market is booming in Singapore, right? Insurance, there are also millionaires in insurance. And there are medical doctors who are doing very well, but they're doing this business. But the question is, what makes Nu Skin stand out from this business? Why would this be so different that these people would want to do this?
Okay, so first let's take each one in turn.
Yeah.
Those investment schemes that offer you guaranteed 2% a month or annualized close to 30%, I only have one word. They are scams. It doesn't matter what it is. It can be gold, it can be crypto, it can be taking 2 emu to breed more emu. They're scams, okay? Now, for the longest time, whenever I meet a young person, they will say, Uncle, you are so experienced in investment. What do you think of crypto? You know what I say? I got nothing to say to you. Guess what's happening now? You've seen the collapse of crypto, right?
Yep.
And there's all this nonsense that's going on. So all those people who are thinking of making a quick buck and become overnight millionaires, sorry, it goes the other way. They will become
include the MFT recently.
NFT and they're complete. A lot of them are complete scams. Okay, they will become paupers overnight rather than millionaires. As for a lot of legitimate business and industries such as property, such as financial planning, I think these are good avenues to earn sales income, to earn an active income. I see a lot of very successful people. I admire these people. But let's be clear, theirs is an active sales income. Ours is a compounding passive income. So I don't want to go too much into it. Please talk to the people who brought you. What I mean is that if you're successful in property or in selling insurance, you have to keep actively selling because the compensation plan rewards you for current sales. And the person that bought a property from you may refer you to a friend or associate to buy another property. But this person is not likely to buy another property in the next 5 or 10 years. So it's not a consumable. Whereas in Nu Skin, when we get the clients in, the users in, and if we take them through properly, they will be using the products for life. But the key to the business is the franchising of the business, not just in Singapore, but worldwide. That leads to the compounding passive income because you're dealing with a consumable product. So if you want to work hard and make money, you can do it in property, you can do it in financial planning, don't get me wrong. But if you want total freedom to then do what you want into the future and be assured of that passive income, I think there's nothing I can see that beats Nu Skin out there.
I mean, this reminded me of when I was about in the 4th year of this business. I didn't get the impact of this until it was 4 years, my 4th year in this business. I remember I moved house, right? And I was down, myself and Glenda was down and out for 3 months because we have renovation issue, we have moving issue, blah, blah, blah. We didn't really do the business. But every month we look at the bank statement, the income kept going up.
That's right.
That was when I truly understood, oh, wow, that was what JuinnWen was trying to tell me. And I was just doing it without really understanding the whole thing because of the leveraging part.
That's right. I mean, we've had many leaders who experience some personal or family issues during particular periods in their life. For example, a bereavement of a spouse, or an illness. So for whatever reason, they can't be actively going out there to work, to solicit new clients. Now, can you imagine if you were in such a state? How can you be in the mood or have the time or energy to go and show property or sell insurance, which is active, right? But in Nu Skin, your organization, of leaders will continue to maintain or even grow, and your users will continue to buy the products more or less automatically. And these are real examples. I don't want to give specific names, but I think we know that we have lots of people in that kind of situation. At some point in their life, they are very grateful that the Nu Skin income continues to come in at a very difficult period in their life where they can't be out there doing the things actively.
For a matter of fact, my downline just reminded me while she was sleeping, somebody in US bought product and she get paid while sleeping.
That's right.
All right, so that's a beautiful thing. Now, let's go to the last question I want to ask you. For those new people inside this Zoom over here watching, and they have decided, okay, I'm going to do this business. Now, let me ask you, what do you think they should do? What did you and your wife did when you first started this? What do you do? Can you just recommend us what to do?
Okay, so I was shown the business. I still remember the exact date, January 2nd, 2001. I had no idea what is network marketing. My wife and I, we had just come back from a long holiday. And at the end of the presentation, the presenter asked, who wants to do the business? I put up my hand immediately and I said, I will help my wife to do this business.
What was your wife's face like when she
looked at me? But I think at that point, I think she knew I was going to raise my hand. Okay. So of course she said, how come you decided that for me? You know, I said, because she was looking for a business. I mean, she was also a stockbroker. And she just asked me one word. She said, I agree with you that we should do this. But she said, what makes you think we will succeed? Because we have no experience in this. And she said to me, you don't even use skincare. You've never done network marketing. You know what I said? If those people that the upline mentioned who have succeeded, by the way, there are some of our uplines are here, Pat and Margaret Sung, Tai Chi, and so on and so forth. If they can do it with no experience in MLM, why can't we? And I like that lifestyle. I like that future lifestyle where I don't have to worry about anything. And I really envisage myself doing that in the future. Okay. So I saw my business brain told me it was a sure-win business that will not require me to work on, to have to put up capital or inventory or worry about supply chain or worry about exchange rate. My heart told me that this business will take care of my family's present and future needs. And on top of that, the products will give me the health and the time freedom to do whatever I want to do, whether it's playing golf or going on holiday or playing soccer. So for the people who are here, I think I would pose that question that the presenter posed to me that very evening. What is the risk of doing versus the risk of not doing? I think for most of us brought up in a very kiasu local environment, we tend to think of what could go wrong. Wow, we want the 100% sure before we go in. There is no such thing. Okay, so let's say you go in. What is the risk of doing? Simply, if you get the products and for whatever reason, you decide you don't want to do the business after some months, I tell you what will happen. You'll become healthier, you become younger, you will probably save yourself a lot of medical costs because the products are so good. Your weight will go down and so on and so forth, you know, and your health will improve and you'll be younger. So what is the risk of doing? Zero. In fact, it's not zero. The result is a positive result. Even if you don't end up doing the business, just consuming the product, you will save yourself a lot of problems later on. But it's the second question that is the more interesting one. What is the risk of not doing? And I can answer that affirmatively. If I didn't do the business, I would have more gray hair from all the worrying. I would have less hair. I would be less young. I will my tummy will be bigger. My weight will balloon. I could be on doctor's medication now instead of taking our wonderful supplements.
And the scary part is you won't be playing football.
I won't be playing football, right? Because I would have all kinds of issues, joint and this and that, right? And I would not have peace of mind. What if something goes wrong? Then what happens? I won't be able to recover my financial side. So again, to those of you who are looking at this, in the context of the 4 seismic shocks, which are going to have far-reaching ramifications and long-term ramifications, which will affect our jobs and our business, I really suggest to you to look very seriously at this plan B becoming your plan A. And if you decide to join us, we will guide you, we will work with you to achieve that great future for our families. So talk to the person who brought you and say, hey, put me in touch. I want a meeting with the experienced upline. I want to sit down. I want to look at this very seriously. And for those of us who have brought in people, please follow up with them and say, hey, can we have a meeting? Can we talk a little bit further? At the end of the day, you want to do. You don't want to do, don't do. It's okay, no pressure. But let's have a closure. I think that's important.
You know what, JuinnWen? This 4 seismic shock just reminded me, none of our ministers, our prime ministers, our president, none of them have ever experienced this 4 seismic shock together.
Correct.
You know how scary that is?
Correct.
So everything we do is an experiment.
Yes.
Okay, it has never come together before.
Correct.
So that is very real, that's very scary. Now, for those people who are going to do the business, pick up the phone, call the person who gave you this Zoom link, start on a good sponsoring product, and I would strongly recommend the TR90. All right. Some people ask, why must I use a product to start off this business? I say, you want to do this business, you tell the truth. You don't lie to people. Because when you tell people this product is good, you better have used it before.
Yeah.
Then you're telling the truth. That's the only way to do this business. Be honest about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, be honest about it. So without further ado, thank you very much, JuinnWen. For those people who have gotten value from JuinnWen, give him an 8888 in your communication, the chat room there. Thank you very much. A big round of applause. Again, it's always good to have you in our talk together, especially right now when things are so different. It's always good to hear from an economist.
Thank you for inviting me, and thank you all for your kind attention.
Thank you very much. So guys,
thank you.
We are at the end. Thank you very much. See you soon in the business. Bye-bye.